Welcome, everybody. We're super excited to be here. We're going to be talking about marketing and automation today. We are going to do a little bit of a slideshow presentation while we walk through some different strategies, different automated campaigns we can build. I've got the wonderful Edward here from Workiz, which we're super excited about.
Well, thank you. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Of course. Super good to see everybody. We'll have more joining as we go. I'm just going to get my screen shared so we can jump in and talk about automation. So overall today, by the end of this webinar, we want to teach you how automation can level up your marketing. That's going to be learning some strategies, different ideas for automated campaigns, and overall just tracking data inside of your CRM in general. So just to get started, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. My name is Celia Church. I work here at CEO Warrior as the technology and automation specialist. I've been in the industry with HVAC, plumbing, and electrical for about 6 years now, a little bit more than that. I have, held roles inside of dispatch departments, call center, management. I've been in the industry, like I said, about 6 years, and I really, really love what I do. Now that I'm here on the CEO Warrior team, I focus on technology and automations, different CRMs, how to use our CRMs, recording different data, marketing, automation as a whole, artificial intelligence, really you name it. I like to learn. I like to experiment with all of these new technologies. So that's what I do. I will turn it over to Edward and let him introduce himself to you all.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, my name is Edward Medor. I am in charge of strategic partnerships, business development with Workiz, specifically over HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. That's my channel. I have been working with the home services business segment for well over 15 years now. I actually spent quite a bit of time, almost a lifetime with Angie Home Advisor. Love them or hate them. I can always teach you how to level up your business with Angie Home Advisor. Worked actually with Mike Disney from CEO Warrior when I was at Home Advisor, and many of his customers, also business advisors with CEO Warrior. So pretty exciting for me to be here today. I feel as though I bring to the table a wealth of information within the home services, especially as it pertains to advertising, marketing, and now with my role at Workiz, definitely automations and artificial intelligence is something that we are very passionate about as well. So, I'm just super pumped to be here today and try to share with you all just little tidbits of information that could help you level up.
Awesome. I love it. Super excited. So let's get rolling with a little bit of the agenda that we're going to talk about today. One thing we're going to cover is utilizing your CRM to its fullest potential, building a culture inside of your organization around data and recording data, validating it, and how to use it. We want to talk about utilizing different automation strategies, audience targeting, and overall just navigating all of that customer data that's being recorded every time we book jobs in our CRM. That's a little bit of what we're going to cover today. So let's just roll right into it. And we'll start with CRM data tracking. So the really cool thing about your CRM, whether it's Workiz, Service Titan, Field Edge, House Call Pro, doesn't matter which CRM it is, all of these systems are tracking data. They're recording it, whether that's customer data, such as their name, their address, their phone number, email, right? But we're also tracking things like lifetime revenue, average ticket on all of those jobs, memberships and those membership statuses. And another really important element is going to be equipment tracking. So what I really like is teaching people about how useful the CRM is as a whole, regardless of what CRM you're using. What's really, really important is that we understand that these systems, they work in a way that allow us to pull reports on data. They allow us to identify different opportunities within our customer base. And on top of that, it also helps us to hold our internal team accountable as well through the use of different KPIs, scorecards, everything along those lines. Edward, in your experience with Workies, what are some of the key data points that you're seeing become really, really useful inside of the platform?
I would definitely say attribution to lead source is a huge thing that, most people have struggled with in the past. And, I hate to always bring analogies back to the past, but I used to, when I was at Angie Home Advisor, I literally used to tell everybody and their brother, sign up for Service Titan. Service Titan's the best app in the world because it ties back your lead attribution to your home advisor leads. And I mean, you know,
Mhm.
I, I love that application, even though I work for Workiz. I think it's a great solution because it definitely does understand all of these things are very important. Well, now there are other alternatives. Workies can do the very same thing. There are actually very few companies that integrate with Angie Home Advisor, Google Local Services, Thumbtack. We have an integration with Search Kings as well, which is very big player for PPC, SEM management within the home services space, specifically as it pertains to HVAC. So lead attribution is huge, absolutely huge. You need to be able to have speed to lead. If a lead can come into your system, you have the ability to call out on that faster and then be able to see like where is your most important return on investment, right? Just robust reporting data in general. Like, how profitable are you in certain geographic territories? Who are your best selling technicians, comfort advisors, if you will? And then, lots of other things that you're talking about here too, like, equipment records, membership status. These are all wildly important. And we understood that we needed to have every one of these built into our system. But one thing, again, we're keeping things super agnostic today. So I don't care what platform you're using, but Workies, like, we understand that we just want to make it easy for you to use it. So at the end of
Absolutely.
the day, as long as you understand that these things are all valuable for you, truly optimizing your business and seeing, the biggest bang for your buck, that's all I care about. I'm sure that's what you care about too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all super, super critical. And like you said, regardless of what software you're using, understanding how important each of these metrics are is super huge. I
Mhm.
want to reiterate a little bit about the equipment data inside of your system. I know in my experience with auditing Service Titan accounts and helping people with House Call Pro that we're not always recording our equipment data when we're going out to customers' homes. And I really want to draw attention to this because equipment data and those equipment records are one of the most important pieces of data in terms of marketing opportunity. We should be having our service experts enter equipment data, those data plates, model, serial, install date on every single job that we come in contact with, every customer we come in contact with. These pieces of equipment are massive marketing opportunities that we can capitalize on, whether those are in one-time campaigns or in automated campaigns. And what I really mean by that is when we're recording equipment data in our CRM and we're telling the system when it was installed, that gives us the ability to track the age of the equipment and target clients that have aging equipment in targeted marketing campaigns. So, like, we can do exactly what Edward was saying, which is maximizing our dollar, right? Maximizing our return on investment. So, equipment data is super, super important inside of your CRM. If this is something that you guys are lacking on, maybe your service experts aren't doing it consistently, I really recommend that you dive into that workflow and that process and make sure that we're recording it every single time we go out to the customer's house. Now, for everybody wondering, depending on your trade, there are different types of equipment that we can be recording so that we can use those for marketing purposes. So some of the most obvious are going to be the furnace AC unit, humidifier. I know, Edward, when you and I were preparing for this webinar, we talked a lot about thermostats, and I want you to share a
Yeah.
little bit about why you think that's so important.
I think it's huge, because, at the end of the day, like, and again, keeping this agnostic, like, regardless of what FSM you're using today, most platforms out there should give you the capability to require certain data to be collected. You just might not be thinking about it today, right? So, one thing that we pride ourselves on at Workies is that we're always interviewing customers, and then when you're going through your onboarding process, we try to share best tips and tricks and suggestions on how you can, more effectively run your business, and how you're able to, again, maximize ROI. So, like with thermostats, for example, I think there are tons of people out there that are super excited about smart home automation, Wi-Fi, Z-Wave. Maybe you're into Zigbee. I love Z-Wave because it actually is going to save the battery life on my door lock. And then I get a Z-Wave thermostat, and like I've got this whole Z-Wave mesh network set up in my house. But even though I work with home service professionals and have been for a long time, I'm an idiot about installing any of this stuff. I'm not very handy. So here's the deal. Every time you're out there on a job, it should be mandatory just to kind of scan around, see what they've got. Is it an old school Honeywell thermostat that is not, you know, Wi-Fi enabled? It's not smart home savvy. You can set up a custom field. Most FSM should allow you to do this. Workies does. You can make it required. You cannot close out that job ticket unless you've actually collected this data. So this can be very important for you to then go back to the office, run a report, see what kind of thermostats your customers have today, and then, which Celia will get into later, run a campaign to actually target these customers to upsell them. Right now, we are in the busiest time of the year. It's hot. I'm in Texas running around right now, visiting with different distributors. And you know what? Upselling when it is the slower time of the year, the winter months, that's where you're really going to be able to see a big impact. So collect this data
Absolutely.
now. Collect it now.
Definitely, definitely. And every trade has different pieces of equipment that we can be recording. We've got IAQ, water heaters, water softeners, and even on the electrical side, we can be documenting that electrical panel so that we can be targeting those aging panels for replacement opportunities as well. So, like Edward said, we are in the busy season right now, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But we want to be recording this while our call volume is high because that's a ton of data that we can collect, and then when we need it, we can capitalize on it, right? Maybe right now, we don't necessarily need it in the moment, but we're absolutely going to when the weather starts to turn. So that's what makes documenting this daily very, very important for you and your team. So when we talk about tracking equipment, like we've said repeatedly, every CRM for the most part has the ability to do this. I know, and I'll speak on the other CRMs initially, but Service Titan, right, when we're on our iPad, we go to the equipment tab via the history tab. We can go in on the customer's location and enter that equipment data. House Call Pro works the same way. We add it under the property profile. We add those pieces of equipment so that they're logged. And same thing in Field Edge, when we're on the mobile device, we have an equipment tab where we can document it. And I'm sure that Edward would be the best person to speak to how to do that inside of Workiz.
So we've been doing that, for years now by just creating custom fields that are required to collect this data. But very excited to announce that here within the next month to month and a half, so Q3, we will have released under the customer profile, along with all job activity that's already there. A lot of information we're tracking under the customer profile. There will be an equipment tab. This is going to be very robust, very rich in data, where you will be able to just input that. You don't have to create any custom fields, and yeah, so we'll have that here for you very, very soon. In fact, if you were going to join Workiz, tomorrow, by the time you got onboarded, it'd probably be ready to go.
I love it. But either way, right, like you said, you
Right.
guys still have a method for that. We've got custom fields. Super, super exciting that you're gonna have a dedicated place for it, though. I love how it'll be organized. It's gonna be awesome. I love it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, one thing I want to call attention to before we move past my equipment soapbox is when we're going out, if we're a multi trade industry or a multi trade organization, I should say, then we want to make sure that we're communicating with our experts in the field that they can be documenting the other trade lines equipment. So, if we're really heavy on the HVAC side right now, but we also do plumbing, then our HVAC service experts can be documenting water heater and water softener information so that we can cross sell and we can market to those clients and sell our other trade line, right? We can promote our other trade lines. So if we're already down in the mechanical room and we see other equipment, we see the panel, we see the water heater and softener, there's no reason why we can't document other trade lines equipment because this is all really, really valuable marketing data. Now, part of what goes into this is really educating your team on the importance of documenting this equipment. In my experience, when you ask service experts to add another task to their list when they're at the customer's house, sometimes that can be a challenging conversation, right? Because we are already asking them to do so much, and now we've just asked them to do something that doesn't pertain to their line of work. So you really want to be educating them on what you're going to be doing with this information and how it's going to help us in the off season, right? This is really critical data that we can build automated marketing campaigns for if we're going out to a customer's house for an HVAC related issue, but we still manage to document the water heater and softener, that gives us even more ammunition to market to that customer when the other department needs to bring up some leads, right? So, super important and critical that you're educating your team on the importance of this, understanding it yourselves as owners and critical managers, that every time we enter a customer's home, that is an opportunity for our entire organization, right? Not just one department. So, whatever small changes we can make in our process can really, really help us in the long term. Now, part of what I think goes into all of this entering info into our CRM and documenting is really making sure that we're doing a data integrity check at multiple different points in that life cycle, right? So when we're on the inbound call, we want to make sure that we're putting in the correct address and email, double verification on the phone so that all of that marketing information is accurate. We want to make sure that we're verifying the campaign source because, like we talked about at the beginning of our webinar today, that campaign source and attribution is really, really critical in understanding your return on investment. So making sure that if your system isn't automatically attributing those campaign sources, that you're verifying those sources, asking the customer how they heard about you, and documenting that for your own return on investment purposes. Then, of course, we want to document equipment, make sure that our business units and job types are accurate, right? Because as you guys know, business units and job types are also data that's important in terms of accounting, and it's also important for marketing purposes. So making sure that those are accurate. And if you are an organization that uses tags, you have a tag-based system, then making sure that those tags in the system are accurate. If you use those for reporting mechanisms, then just double verifying that those are as accurate as possible. Edward, anything you want to add on that?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with absolutely everything that you said there. Again, not to be a broken record, but it's just absolutely mission critical to ensure that all of the information is correct. Because I used to hear constantly, again, my days at Angie Home Advisor, oh, the lead's no good. It's no good. It's no good. I'm like, well, it might not be good if you got a bad phone number and a bad email address. And absolutely, you should be credited for that. But there were so many people that would just give up if they sent an email. They never actually tried calling the phone number or vice versa,
Yeah,
So that data may be correct. And even if they don't buy from you today, doesn't mean that they're not going to buy from you tomorrow, which I know Celia is going to tee up a great part of today's conversation to talk about that in how we are
definitely.
marketing all of our leads, like all of our existing customers and even folks that did not yet become a customer. It doesn't mean that they're not going to in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think all this relates back to having a culture of data inside of your organization. So, talking about double checking data, entering equipment, in order to expect that from your team, I think that you have to build your culture around those goals. Having a culture of data helps you to understand your customers, which helps you to have targeted marketing campaigns, which ultimately leads to customer retention. And even outside of the marketing sphere, we have accountability for your team when we're tracking metrics, right? So this gives us the ability to identify training and coaching opportunities. So overall, just holistically, having a culture of data is incredibly beneficial in terms of accountability, in terms of marketing, and ultimately increasing your revenue. And to build a culture of data, I think that you have to really educate your team on why it's important. At CEO Warrior, we talk about this a lot when we train service experts. We talk about the importance of answering the why, right? The why behind a new process or procedure is so vital in getting everybody's buy-in to make sure that it actually happens. So when you build a culture around data, you promote accountability, you can create scorecards and have trackability for your metrics. And overall, you're allowing yourselves to educate your team so that they understand why these elements are important, how you're going to use them, and overall how it's going to increase revenue for every department in your organization. So really critical. If you guys aren't a data-driven company, I would say that this is the direction that we're moving in terms of technology and automation and artificial intelligence. Data is so, so critical in making educated business decisions. So there's nothing more important than building your culture around that because it's just the way that the world is moving right now. Every software is integrating with artificial intelligence. We've got Chat GPT rocking and rolling that everybody is, building their free accounts, building their prompts. Lots of really exciting things happening, but they all rely on data. So just making sure that you guys understand that as an organization. So part of what's really important, and it kind of goes into that culture of data, is having a debrief process at the end of every job. This allows you to validate all the information that took place on the job, validating the data that we've entered, checking that documentation to ensure that we did enter equipment information and we didn't skip certain fields, verify that the equipment information is correct, and utilize your tags, which may be important in your reporting process. So if you don't have a built-in debrief process for your dispatch team or your office staff, I really want you guys to consider building a debrief form or building out that process so that each element of these really critical pieces of data can be verified and double verified to ensure that they're accurate before we close out that call. And even outside of marketing and data, having a debrief process in general, and I swear I won't get on my dispatch soapbox for too long, but I was a dispatcher for a while, but that debrief process is just so, so vital. So even outside of marketing, if you don't have a process for debriefing calls, build one right now. Reach out to CEO Warrior if you need some help with that, because that is our strong suit and we would love to give you some guidance. Anything you've got on that, Ed?
No, I mean, I ran into very similar situation. I myself had to execute a debrief today because I'm currently running all over the state of Texas right now. If anybody's on the call today or going to be listening later, got a new partnership with Standard Supply, a distributor here in Texas and Oklahoma. And so I'm going around, I'm visiting all of these different distributor locations, and we've got contractors coming in, and we're collecting data. Again, data, big thing. And sometimes they'll tell me their name, their phone number, their email address, and I think I'm hearing one thing, but I actually heard something else. And what good would it be to collect that lead if I'm not going to do it the right way, right? So I'm making sure that I'm going back and like, let me confirm this is your phone number, this is your email address, And I tell
Yes,
you, in the last few days, I already had somebody, no, actually, that was misspelled. Thank you. Okay, great. Let me get that correct now, right? So going back,
definitely.
doing a debrief with that potential customer and the existing customer, I've got to check all of my data to make sure that it's correct. And it's just important no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Now, we talked about this a little bit already, but I just want to capitalize on the fact that a lot of us are in our busy season right now. And I put busy season in quotes because the ultimate goal is for the whole year to be our busy season. And that's kind of what we're leading into with this webinar. But ultimately, for a lot of us right now, especially in the HVAC world, the summertime is our busy season. We have higher than normal call volume, which means we have more opportunities to gather this really critical data like equipment data and customer emails and their location address, their geographical location. And using that data, we've got the ability to build targeted campaigns, which can help us generate work year round. So what all of this is really tying back to is every single call you run is an opportunity to gather marketable data. We're going to talk about how we can create targeted campaigns based off of that data so that you don't have to have a slow and busy season. You can just have consistent lead volume all year round, which is really what we want for everybody on this call. So to do that, we have to automate our marketing strategy, and it works in a bit of a cycle. So first we have the calls that we're running, then we're obtaining marketing data from those calls. Then we're going to create a target audience or a trigger to trigger a campaign. That's going to be the basis of our automated campaign. And in theory, that campaign should be producing us leads so that we can run more calls and collect more data. So this all works in a happy cycle, but the real key element here is obtaining that marketing data and understanding the triggers and campaigns that we can build by using it. So this is a really important cycle. The more calls that you run, the more data that you obtain, the stronger your marketing presence is going to be able to be all year round. So really, really critical. Now, when it comes to creating automated campaigns, there are a lot of ways that we can do this. Oftentimes, we have the ability built right into our CRM, right? In Workiz, we have a huge, huge host of automation possibilities, right? There's an entire dedicated automation section of the program where we can build just about anything we can think of, whether that's internal communications between team members or external marketing with texts and emails to clients. You want to dive into that a little bit more, Edward, and tell us what those automations kind of work like?
Yeah, I mean, you can literally automate anything and everything. And that was one of the things that fired me up the most about joining the Workies team. Just love this software because it is so easy to use. And even though I admittedly said to you guys before that I used to say, oh, you should join Service Titan, you should go check that out. I also used to work with a lot of very big customers that were huge into Successware. And hey, I have nothing bad to say
Mhm.
about Successware either. I think it's great. It's an awesome application, very big into the accounting piece. But at the end of the day, I will tell you that I've got a good buddy of mine. He works for one of these companies there, and he actually said to me, I think your automations are better than ours. And I was like, oh, really? That's awesome. That's a great compliment. But yeah, we're
Yeah,
big in automations. I mean, we feel like the more time that we can save you to your day so that you don't have to spend every Friday, maybe do a little bit of commercial work and you're trying to reconcile outstanding invoices that are, late net 30, 60, 90. Why should you have to do that? Have an automation built out for that. Like, why should you have to be following up with, your comfort advisors that are out there selling, selling, selling? They're always selling, but they have, not gotten a response back from the customer yet. Well, there should be an automation that goes out about that too. And because you do not
absolutely.
need a PhD to use our software, and I'm going to have an opportunity to show you this later because Celia gave me a little bit of time towards the end. It is as simple as if this happens, then that happens, and boom, boom, boom. Like anybody could do it, like anybody. So love
I
our
love
automation.
it. Absolutely. And like you said, we're going to see it in action. It's going to be awesome. Now, anybody that's on other CRMs, right? Service Titan, of course, has their built in additional cost feature called Marketing Pro. I'm super, super skilled with Marketing Pro, in my personal opinion. And using Marketing Pro, you can build multiple audiences and trigger some automated campaigns. House Call Pro has an email automation app. I'm not sure if that's an additional cost or not, but it is something that's built into their software that you can use to generate some automated email campaigns. And Field Edge actually, within the last couple of months, just released their Marketing Edge software in competition with all the other CRMs that are moving in this direction, which allows you to build some automated email marketing campaigns as well. But even outside of your CRM, there are a lot of really amazing tools that can help you build automated campaigns. At CEO Warrior, we have a vendor partner called Chirp. If you've never looked into Chirp, I highly recommend that you do so because it's such a powerful marketing platform that allows you to send text messages to clients, emails, as well as voice shots and other really awesome features. Has built-in integrations to Service Titan and House Call Pro and tons of other programs. So another really amazing opportunity. Now, if you're using another marketing software like MailChimp or SendGym, a lot of times you can integrate that into your CRM as well by using a little program called Zapier, which is an automation software that lets you link multiple programs together. So when we're talking about building automated marketing campaigns, whether you do that inside of your CRM or use a third party to do it, just know that the tools are available to you. We can supply you with the tools if we need to, but we can teach you how to do it. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So the first step of
Yeah, and
building an
not to
automated
interrupt.
campaign. Oh yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
sorry, Celia. Just back to that last slide real
Yeah,
quick. So
yeah,
Zapier, MailChimp, SendGym, all partners of Workiz, by the way. Like we partner with
love
everyone,
it.
and we've been talking to Chirp too. So that might be possible in the near future as well.
That's exciting. It's really amazing with all these integrations that are coming up with all the different softwares, how it helps keep everything in sync and makes building automations 10 times easier.
For
So
sure.
I
Yeah.
love it. Now, with all these campaigns, right, we're going to cover some different campaigns that you can build, but most of these are going to start with a trigger of some kind. So, whether that trigger is a new customer being created, maybe a new inbound call, an estimate being created, a job being completed, maybe we surpass a certain age for the equipment, or maybe it's just a time delay, right? Maybe we want to target clients who are dormant, who we haven't heard from in the last, 6 months. So all of these are different types of triggers that we can utilize to generate automated campaigns. So the first step in understanding how to do this is understanding that these triggers are going to be the starting point of the actions, which is emailing our clients or texting our clients, right? Reaching out to them in some way, shape, or form. So it all really starts with some kind of trigger inside of your system. So now for the meat and potatoes, right? Here are some ideas for some automated marketing campaigns that you can build inside of your CRM or using third-party software. So I've categorized these into a few different sections to chunk it down a little bit. But in general, we've got opportunities. So these are going to be the instances where we may want to market to our client on an open estimate that's unaccepted. Maybe we want to build an automation where we reach out to clients who have recently canceled jobs with us. Maybe they've canceled because they found someone sooner, and we want to reach out to them on an automated basis to try to save that job and get it back onto the board. Maybe we want to reach out to clients who have past due balances. Not really a huge marketing tactic, but super important for revenue and cash flow and managing AR. And then, of course, we want to always be having an automated review or referral request system. So those are all related to opportunities. And these are really, really powerful campaigns, regardless of what system you're using, that can help you generate additional leads, save calls that have been canceled, collect on past due invoices, and increase your review basis. Now, outside of that, in the marketing, we talk a lot about having a layered approach to marketing. So instead of reaching out to clients with recent promotions all of the time, we reach out to clients using different touch points about all kinds of different things, whether that's a newsletter from your company, that's educational things about what to do during a power outage and things along those lines. And then, of course, we want to have some introductions. So some examples of introductory campaigns would be when you have a new client in your system and their job is completed, we send them a new client welcome email. We welcome them to our family. We explain the different trade lines that we do. We talk to them about our membership program, and that can be in the form of an email or a really quick, nice to meet you text message. Same thing with thank you campaigns. A lot of people will target clients that have purchased over a certain dollar amount with our business. And then we'll automatically generate a thank you email, thanking them for their business, asking them for a review or a referral, checking to see if there's anything else we can do. And another introduction that's becoming really popular in our industry is when we have an installation job on the schedule, we have an automated campaign that recognizes that call is on the board and sends them a what to expect when we get there type email, right? So that way they're prepared for how that installation process is going to go, what forms of payment we accept, all the benefits of our membership if we haven't already sold one. So another really powerful campaign. It's not necessarily to gain more business, but it's to get in front of the customer, improve our brand awareness, and really welcome them into our family as an organization. Now, some other campaigns that I want to kind of bring attention to involve customer retention. So once a customer has done business with us, whether that was just an open estimate or whether they moved forward with work, ultimately we want that to be a long-term customer, not just a one and done. So some examples of retention campaigns are dormant customer campaigns. So after the last job of that client was completed, say 6 months ago, maybe we target them with an email or with a text message. Maybe we're cross-selling other trade lines, asking them how their system is working, really just bringing our attention and our brand back in front of the client. Same thing with educational emails. We're seeing a lot of popularity with walking through, how to shut your water off, what to do when you have a flooding situation, what to do if your meter gets ripped off your wall, right? Who to contact, who the power company is, what phone numbers they can reach out to. So educational emails really just help you to get back in front of the customer, support them, show them that you're here to help, even if they don't have a problem right now. And then, of course, we've got the maintenance reminders, and this can be for membership clients or non-members. So I really like triggering automated email campaigns for customers that are non-members, reminding them that it's time for furnace or AC maintenance. Even if they're not a member customer, it's still something that they realistically should get done, and it's a marketing opportunity for us as well. Super, super important. Then, of course, we have all of the membership campaigns that we can build. Welcome emails for new members, having our upcoming maintenance reminders, and then of course we want to target expiring memberships. So all of these different automated campaigns are going to be working with those triggers that we talked about in the last slide, and that's going to be triggering the start of each of these campaigns. And then of course, last but not least, we have all the different automated equipment campaigns that we can build. So for example, we can have customers fall into an audience to send a campaign when their equipment reaches a certain age. So once we hit that 10-year mark, maybe we're automatically generating a series of emails or emails and text messages to target that client, to give them a discount on replacement, offer them a free consultation, whatever that marketing strategy looks like for you. But we've got to have that equipment data in order to trigger these types of campaigns. Same thing with birthday notifications. Every year when the equipment reaches its birthday, we can send a notification to the client, reminding them about maintenance, teaching them how to take care of the system, whatever that looks like for you. And then of course, again, maintenance reminders in general. So I just talked for a really long time about all these different campaigns, but I'm super excited to share them all with you. If you guys want to take a screenshot of this, definitely absolutely do that. Edward, what have you got? Anything else you can add to any of this?
No, I feel like you're inside my brain right now. Like, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. And yeah, take a screenshot, or we're also going to be sending out a copy of the presentation later. And this is going to be live on, or it's going to be online as well, correct, Celia?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, no, I mean, these are things, again, I'm not trying to be all salesy with our callers today. But at the end of the day, we think that we do a pretty good job of being able to understand our customers and know what works best for most of our customers. So we've built out a lot of these automations already. Like if you were to sign up for Workiz, a lot of these already exist right now. And so I'll be excited to show you that later. But These are all awesome suggestions, like, because if you don't have automations that are built in this fashion today, I would definitely be doing everything that Celia has recommended here for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of potential here. And you guys, these are just the ones that I was able to come up with today. I'm sure there are plenty more automated campaigns that we can use, audiences that we can build. There's a ton of potential here in the marketing sphere. So I know we talked a little bit about campaigns, collecting data, but one thing I want to talk about is your marketing strategy as a whole. So some really important keys that I want you guys to take away from this is that there should be multiple touch points when we're reaching out to our clients. So we don't want everything to be email based or everything to be text message based. We want to make sure we have a healthy balance of all of the different electronic communication that we can have with our clients. So we've got email, text message, voice shots, outbounding, your social media presence, as well as direct mail opportunities. So make sure that you're layering in your brand and layering your touch points together to build a holistic, successful marketing strategy that reaches out to clients in multiple different ways with multiple different types of marketing material. So when I talk about layering your brand, that means taking some of those automated campaigns and kind of layering them over top of each other. When we talk about customer retention, in order to have a successful retention campaign, we want to have emails and text messages that welcome them to our family. We also want to be informing and educating them on what to do during natural disasters with acts of God. We, of course, want to be reaching out about reviews and referrals. Then we can have different campaigns layered into that process that has additional services, layering in our membership benefits. So using all these different strategies and all these different types of marketing campaigns so that your approach with your customer is balanced, right? We're not always reaching out to them to schedule a call. Sometimes we're just sending them an email to give them a tip about how to change their smoke detector batteries, right? Everything doesn't have to have this sales orientation to it. We can have really friendly, communications with our clients to really just layer our brand awareness, get our logo and our brand in front of them so that when they need to reach out to somebody, our brand and our organization is at the forefront of their brain. Now, another strategy is to cross-sell your different trades and services. This can be done with different types of dispatch notifications. So I know that a lot of people have seen success with having a dispatch notification that goes out to the customer when the technician is on the way that talks about the different trade lines you service or calls attention to your membership benefits, right? Hey, we just want to let you know our service expert is headed to your home. And just so you know, we do have a really awesome membership that could save you some money today. So maybe you should chat with him about that, right? Just bringing attention to your membership. Maybe they didn't know it existed. And a lot of that can be done inside of your dispatch text message. Then, of course, our welcome emails, those should be talking about the different trade lines that we service, the different benefits that we offer with our membership. And then, of course, even when we're in the home, when we have a service expert there, they should be making observations about their equipment, observations about other needs that they may have, recording all of those different trade lines equipment so that we can market to it in the future. And then when we build campaigns, a really, really huge benefit is building drip campaigns. So these are going to be campaigns that have multiple touch points using multiple different avenues of communication, which has layered in all of our communication types. So this is going to yield better results for you. So what I mean by that is if we wanted to, we could build a customer retention campaign that includes emails and text messages and outbounding, right? Our social media presence. All of that is built in together. On day one, they receive a welcome email, right? On day three, we follow up via text on their estimate. On day 10, maybe it's an email about how to change your smoke detector batteries. Day 15, it's a voice shot from the owner talking about our membership benefits, right? Layering all of these different approaches so that we can get our brand in front of the client, so that we can layer our different services and trade lines and really build a really sound marketing strategy that's going to be able to provide you leads and increased call volume all throughout the year. Edward, anything at all that you want to talk about in terms of how this applies to Workiz, how this applies to CRMs in general? What have you got?
No, couldn't agree with you more. I mean, one of my favorite strategies to employ would I don't know about you, but I love to think about food, like I'll suggest offering out like a free gift card to Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, just leave us a review. Being able to follow up. The drip campaign thing really hits home for me because that's something that I always used to recommend to my customers. For many, many years with Angie Home Advisor, people would say, oh, well, it didn't turn into a job. This was a bad lead. I spent thousands of dollars. I shouldn't have to pay for this or that. And I'm like, really? This person was interested at some point in time. That lead is worth its weight in gold. You need to continue to
Absolutely.
remarket over and over and over again, but don't be annoying about it. Like, please don't be annoying.
Hmm.
Like Celia said, reach out with some valuable information. Right now, every time I'm talking to them on the phone, I'm hearing this basketball court chirp sound that drives me insane. It's like every 5 minutes. Change the batteries in your smoke detector. Believe it or not, there are people out there that would really appreciate getting an email from you about something so simple. Again, to my point earlier, I am not very tech savvy when it comes to, actual hardware. Software, yes, I am, but I don't know how to change out the switches in my home. So, to Celia's point earlier on, let's say you're out there dealing with my plumbing issue. I just had to replace my water heater not even 6 months ago. What if the technician had been out there and noticed that my home was not fully smart home optimized? Yes, I have a, cool door lock. Yes, I've got a, Ecobee thermostat, and, I've got certain things, right? But don't have any Wi-Fi switches, don't have any Z-Wave switches. I mean, these are all things that people might actually appreciate because we try to be do-it-yourselfers, but then we realize what our limitations are, which I am constantly doing on a weekly basis. I'm like, oh yeah, I had great aspirations. I was going to do that, but now I'm going to hire a contractor, and all you need to do is remind me that I don't know what I don't know, right? So
Exactly.
reach out. Marketing strategies, huge. Layer your brand over and over again. Cross sell all of your different trades. Today you're HVAC, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow you're not going to go out there and bring on a master plumber or a master electrician, right? I mean, you're going to diversify. You're going to realize how well things are going for you in one segment and how you need to, grow the business. So, yeah, I love everything you had to say.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Awesome. So now we're towards the end. We've got Edward. We have carved out a small slice of time for him so he can show you all the things that he's super excited about. So, Ed, if you want to share your screen, show us some of these automations. And what I want to really talk about while Ed is working on that is when we're showing you how this works in Workies, just keep in mind that a lot of these concepts are really similar in all kinds of different marketing spheres, right? So when we're talking about, an automation works by saying, hey, if this happens, then this happens. That concept, it applies to all kinds of different marketing platforms like Zapier, like Chirp, right? So just keep that in mind. Workies is an amazing software, but I don't want you guys to take away that, this doesn't apply to you. So just
Yeah,
want to make
I
sure we
will echo that.
communicate.
As much as I would love for everyone to become a CEO warrior or a Workies customer, like at the end of the day, we just wanted to come out and be able to share some best tips and tricks and suggestions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you now. Um, can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, great. So I'm just showing right now my messaging center because this speaks to some of the things that Celia was talking about before, where, as soon as I click a button, an automation is going out. As soon as that job was scheduled, Hi, Jesse. This is Dyke and Dale from Ed's Heating and Cooling. Just letting you know, job's going to start here, should go until about then. I don't have to send that out. I don't have to spend my time writing that text message or sending that email. This is something that can all be automated. An automated, tip. This is coming right back in as soon as the customer views an estimate. I'm able to see that. As soon as the job was done, we're sending out, a text message or an email or both saying, "Hi, Connor. If you loved Ed's Heating and Cooling, would you mind leaving us a review? Thanks. We really appreciate it." And obviously, you're going to be much more creative than me. This is my demo account. I'm just using very generic terminology here. But these are all automations that I've built out. Now I'm going to show you how easy is it to set up an automation. So as I mentioned before, we really try to be cognizant of our customers, what is working for them, what do we think would work best for most companies. We've got a ton of HVAC, plumbing, and electrical clients across the country. That's our bread and butter right now. We actually started out as a field service management software platform built by one of the largest locksmith companies in Southern California for locksmiths, because he was like, this drives me crazy. Nothing works the way I want it to work. He also had a computer science degree, so that helped, right? And so we started in that particular vertical, and then we diversified and got into appliances. And I don't know very many junk removal companies across the country that don't use Workiz. They love Workiz, but we're growing rapidly, expanding HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. That is our sweet spot right now. So again, we're listening to our customers. From a marketing standpoint, you can see some of the automations that we've already got built out. One day after the job ends, send an email with a review request to the client. But because we're also attributing back the origination of that lead, we know that that lead may need to go over to Angie Home Advisor, or to Google Local Services, or to Thumbtack, or maybe your own website, right? We're tracking all of that. So we're going to send that marketing automation based off the origination point of that particular lead, which was then converted into a job. Celia was talking about this a lot. 6 months after the job ends, send an email to the client. What is that email going to say? You're going to dictate what that says. Maybe you're going to send an email, maybe you're going to send a text message. So those are some standard marketing automations. Following up with the customer after 7 days, after a month, after 6 months. What is it that you want to do? Phone. I love this one. If I miss a call, you should never be missing a call. But if a call is missed, instantly send a text message to the client. And the way that I've built that one out is with my particular account, I've got a link to my online booking platform. I'm really sorry I missed your call, but here, please book with us online, because I don't want to miss that business opportunity, right? I'm going to send texts to a client 4 hours ahead of the job to remind them, because nothing is worse than having a booked job, showing up, the customer is not there, no show. Man, that's time, that's money, that's horrible. Nobody wants that to happen. Other things too. One thing that Celia was talking about before is with service plans, service agreements, whatever you want to call them. Let's send a text message out to a client 14 days ahead of the service visit. Perhaps it is getting ready to expire. You've got, send an email to a client 30 days ahead of a service plan auto renewal date. And so, as I mentioned before, literally anything that you want to automate, you can with Workiz, but you should be able to with your existing field service platform as well. And if you can't,
Absolutely.
there are alternatives. There are other options out there, even if it's third party. Celia had mentioned Chirp
Mhm.
before. They're awesome. I love those guys. They're CEO warrior vendors as well. Great guys. But I'm going to show you how to build one here too, because this speaks to how easy it is. I feel like my 4-year-old nephew could do this, because why not, right? When this happens, well, when what happens? When an invoice is past due, send someone. Who are we going to send? Send to a client a reminder. How do we want that reminder sent? Text, email, text, and an email. And then I'll say, please pay your bill. But obviously, I'm
I
going to be
love
nice,
it.
right? So, in any case, I mean, building automations is great. And then also another thing too, because we want this to be easy. We don't want you to have to like sit there and write an entire novel. You can actually select over here. So like client first name, last name. And so then it would say Celia Church, and then whatever I'm going to type. And then I can include other information such as, sorry, invoice number, due date, due amount, like, so it's all just very intuitive and leaves you to have to write less. Less is always more. Which everyone
Definitely.
always tells me, because if you let me, I will talk all day long. So with that said, leave the last like 4 or so minutes here for Q&A. Hopefully this gives you a great little snapshot just at how easy it is to build out an automation with Workiz. But whether you're using Workiz or not, we think you ought to be automating. It is the way of the world. It's the way of the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, you guys. I know we only have a few minutes left, but does anyone have any questions or comments, anything that we can help with? Hopefully, this was helpful for you, but we're here if you need it. To give you an opportunity if you want to
Hey,
put it in the
Celia,
chat, if you
I'll
want to
just jump
unmute.
in. I'll jump in and tell you that Eli
Yeah.
had a question. He had actually two. So one was if you could define upsell and campaigns like PPC.
Mhm. Okay, so when we talked about upsell earlier in the call, what we mean is when you're going out on the job for one particular issue, maybe noticing other elements of the home, other upgrades that could be possible. And even though we're going out to repair the AC, maybe we're recommending some IAQ or we're recommending a Wi Fi enabled thermostat. So that would be us attempting to upsell, right? And we can also do that with automated marketing campaigns. So when a job is completed and we do an AC repair, maybe 14 days later, we send them an email about a Wi-Fi enabled thermostat, right? To try to upsell that lead, try to get us back in the customer's home and so on. So that's kind of what we were referring to, not really in terms of PPC or campaigns necessarily, just in general, whether it's your technicians upselling, whether you're upselling via automated campaigns and so on. So hopefully that helps answer that a little bit.
And the other question was in regards to when you were speaking about smoke detector system. Can you please elaborate on that example?
Yeah, definitely. So the only reason I bring that up is just to kind of bring it back to layering your marketing approach. So when we talk about having educational marketing emails, right, educating the client on their home. So smoke detectors just being an example of how you can get in front of the client, remind them to change their smoke detector batteries, even if it doesn't necessarily pertain to your industry, just a helpful reminder. You can do the same thing with bringing it back to your industry. When's the last time you got your water heater flushed? Make sure you change your furnace filter, things along those lines, just to really help educate your client and get your brand in front of them. Good stuff. Any last minute questions? Anyone else have anything for us? Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys all so much. This is stuff that me and Ed are really passionate about talking about. We hope it was educational. You got some screenshots. Like we said throughout the call and in the chat, this is recorded. So when everything's wrapped up and downloaded and ready to go, we'll get you guys the recording if you need it. So again, thank you guys so much. Ed, thank you for being here.
And real quick, Celia, I think there was one last slide just in case.
Oh, you're right.
Not trying to be salesy with you today, but If you're
course.
interested in learning more about Workiz, since we are a strategic partner with CEO Warrior, love all of their events. We're going to be there again in September. Can't wait. Please reach out to CEO Warrior if you're learning more. If you're interested in learning more, level up your business, increase revenue. There is an option, which I believe is going to be sent out along with the presentation to learn more about CEO Warrior. But if you'd like to schedule a demo with Workiz, link is right there, www.workiz.com/partners/CEO-Warrior.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks so much, Ed. Thank you all again for joining. Super exciting to have you here again. We'll get the recording out as soon as we can. Caroline's put some really awesome links in the chat as well, so I'll give you guys a minute to take a peek at that. But again, you guys, if you guys need more help with this type of thing, absolutely reach out to CEO Warrior. Consider doing a demo with Workiz. These are things we're really passionate about. We're really skilled in, and this industry is really important to us. So we thank you guys so much again for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you again next week, and absolutely reach out if you need to get in contact. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys. Have a great rest of your Thursday.
Cheers.